Hello.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
We're back, girl. We're back.
We are back.
We're back.
Season 4.
Season 4. So we just, by the time you hear this, you would have heard our first episode.
Yes.
So we've already dropped the first episode,
Mm-hmm.
and we're on the second, and there's already this whole list of things that we want to talk about,
we need to talk about. But I'm Natalie Hayden.
And I'm Laverne Badger.
And welcome back
We're
to
ExPOSED
the podcast.
So how was your week?
It's been good.
It's been good.
It's been good. It's been busy, but it's been
But it's
great.
always busy, right?
Right.
It's always busy.
But, I want to jump right into our first conversation. I spent my week
trying not to talk about
it.
We're like, nope.
We can't talk about it until we gotta be in front of the mic, and we have to share the same sentiments with our audience. But I don't know, did anyone catch the Netflix short series Maid?
MAID.
Maid. Ooh,
I've been posting. I posted about this because usually, I'm all about Netflix. I'm always trying to figure out what we can watch or what I can watch or whatever. And when I read the description, it was not what I thought it was going to be. So I thought it was going to be more physical.
Right.
So because that's what we tend to see when we talk about domestic violence, and then when movies or TV shows talk about domestic abuse, they always it seems like they always focus more on
the physical
piece,
yes.
Right? They throw the emotional piece in there, but it's always somehow attached to the physical piece. And this was not.
No. And so I feel like all the work that we do around bringing awareness, prevention, and education around domestic abuse, and just trying to help people fully understand the full scope of domestic abuse, they did
a phenomenal
job. So hold on, here is the short description of this movie, and don't be thrown off by just that description. But it's a single mother, Alex, turns to house cleaning to make ends meet as she escapes an abusive relationship. Immediately, ding, 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 the thing that comes to your head, abusive relationship. Oh, she's fleeing from someone like going upside her head, right? But she overcomes homelessness, because that's another tentacle of domestic violence, is that you find yourself possibly homeless because you're relying on this person, male or female, doesn't matter.
Financial abuse.
Yes, financial abuse. And there are men who are abused by women, so they find themselves homeless as well too, right? But she finds herself homeless to create a better life for her daughter, Maddie. If you guys have not seen that movie, and guess what? I'm on round 2. I had to go back in for another round.
It just was. I called Natalie and I said, you have to watch this show. I had watched it in one day, and I just was like, I couldn't stop the episodes. And so then, but what got me is really, first of all, she needs help.
Mm-hmm.
She runs away.
Her mama is crazy as hell.
Yeah, she a little baddie.
Cuckoo.
She a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Mental health. That's what we mean by that. Mental health concerns.
Right. So, but undiagnosed.
Yes.
But when the show started, it was they were trying to give her some help, and she was like, I'm not in an abusive situation. I don't want to take a bed for someone who is actually in a domestic violence relationship.
So she wasn't even fully sure and aware of her state of being.
Right. He's doing this, he's punching holes in the walls, you don't have access to the money. You don't, you don't
feel safe.
You don't feel safe
at all. You don't want your child.
They had to convince her eventually that and show her what that definition meant. Mm-hmm. And how many people
do we know
that's out there that would probably not see themselves in that type of a relationship?
Well, haven't you quite honestly ran into people that say, I
ain't never been in no abusive relationship,
and then
they start describing what
they started describing, and we're like counting, like, yep, that sounds about it. That sounds about it. You know what? And then they realize, like, man, that outside bird's eye view really does help us fully understand and navigate the awareness that we all need to be fully aware of when we're talking about domestic abuse.
So her willingness to do anything, like she was out there grinding.
She was a hustler, and she did not care about doors getting closed in her face. And that reminded me, I'm going to be honest with you, that reminded me so much of myself. I was able to have this hustle and grind. I was packing a gun underneath my car, and I was Ubering and
licensed
lifting.
and registered.
Disclaimer. But I am, yes, I'm still in care. But I was out until the wee hours, and as long as the shelter was fully aware, shout out to Dolly Grimes Johnson, who was the house director at Sojourner when I was there. And she just said, just give me your hours and we'll make it work. But I was not turning down a call.
Right. To work and get yourself up out of that situation. But it was just so many things that unfolded in that. So it had the one girl who took her in when she went to the shelter, and she seemed so confident and was showing her the ropes. But then she got sucked back in. For briefly, you could see where she had got sucked back in to her guy.
Right.
And
that happened.
So she went back to her guys. They saw her. She ran into her and had to pretend like she didn't know her.
And that's real.
That's real. So it was like all these dynamics. Like it was being able to try to find yourself in that space. Like this woman, that friend at the time was so confident and sure of herself, but then you see her later
on the outside
with him, and she was just a shell of the person that we saw a glimpse of when the show first started. And it just shows how that flip-flops of how we are when we're in those situations versus how we are when we can be ourselves.
Fully free. Do you recall the photo that she would just get lost in when she was at the shelter? It was this portrait. I don't know if she made it or not, or it was painted, but it was of a girl that was sort of like near the ocean. And it just gave this sense of just freedom and liberty to just exist. And I remember her second time around, she spent more time looking in that, and I think desiring that and wanting that for her and her daughter. And so one thing that I am so grateful that this Netflix series captured was that there is a cycle, and that it is something. The cycle was real. When she went back the second time, it was worse.
Yes.
And it was more.
It just about took her out.
It
just about took her out.
Yes.
And I was telling you how I love that piece, how she was just sinking into the couch.
She became the couch.
She became the couch. Like the depression had set on her, that like everything is moving around you.
And you're just a shell.
Right, because she had tried so hard, and it just seemed like she would take 3 steps forward and 10 steps backwards. Something would knock her back down, and it put her back in a place that she didn't want to be. But we know that it takes about 7 times for someone to leave and come back before they leave for good, right?
Right.
And so we understand that. So, but I think we looked at it from a lens of how, because we're survivors and thrivers of domestic abuse. But when you have somebody who's out there who's a family member of someone who's going through that, it just kind of gives you a different picture from the outside, or someone who has never really kind of been in the situation, or to recognize what emotional abuse
really look like.
Yeah. You know, it can be subtle, but then abrasive at the same time. You know, like you're 1 minute I'm a great mom, the next minute you're trying to take me to court to take my child from me.
Yeah.
You know,
it was really eye-opening to also provide viewers the opportunity to see the lens expand, not just to him, but to her dad and to her
that
mother.
Was a good one.
I'm
telling you that. Okay, so that was before we switched topics, but that was a huge piece because her dad, and let's just say a spoiler alert. I'm like, we like 10 minutes in for me to say spoiler alert on this. So, but if you haven't watched it, but her dad was at first he seemed like the greatest guy and just
with
was
the
really
new wife
trying,
and all of that.
was really trying to get a relationship with his daughter. And I was like, well, why she won't?
She was very standoffish. She did not
like,
want her child to be left with him.
Yeah,
and so there was something serious that really happened.
Right. So
you know?
there was some childhood things that started to come up in her memory. And she realized that her dad was abusive, physically abusive to her mother. And so because of the mental issues her mom had, he was able to make it seem like
she was crazy.
That it was her fault. But she remembered how her dad. So when she addressed her dad, he could not fix himself to admit.
Yeah, that's the first
Even
step.
in defense of saying, I love you as my daughter and this is what I need from you, Dad. He couldn't even give her that, because if he gave her that, then he would have to admit that he was the abuser that she's running from. And we're not therapists, but there's some we know that there's some connections in regards to how you grow up, what you're exposed to, whether, because she was really young, but it started to surface when she started to go through her own situation as to what her dad had did.
Or even when she saw her daughter, and her daughter was hiding in the cupboard, she once hid
in the cupboard.
So these things there were direct correlations to what she was experiencing present day, and she wanted to ensure that she and her daughter did not have to go through that. As much as she wanted to take people with her mother, she wanted to take her with her.
Her mama with her.
She could not take her, and for her own sanity.
But she was still gonna take mama.
She was, as crazy as she was.
Mom was like, I'm good on this beach. I'm good homeless. I'm good. She was gonna come with her. She had an opportunity to get herself again out of her situation. But she wanted mom to come with her, and I think she probably would have still took mom. But I think that's somehow God is saying, put situations in there that when we don't always make the right decisions, he comes and removes that for you. Because if mom had went with her, she would have took mom with her.
Yeah,
and the same things that was happening in the hometown where mom was affecting that would have happened in the new town.
Because mental health is real, and mom, that's help beyond what a daughter can do.
Right. So that mother-daughter relationship was in there, and that kind of was abusive as well. And mom was in these abusive relationships,
or she was taken advantage of because of her her mental state. Yes,
right. And so I love. They did a great, amazing job.
I'm gonna continue watching.
I know she was inspiring. She was inspiring. And then the one dynamic is, because she was homeless and poor and didn't have money, you would sort of think that that's kind of what comes with that. Mm-mm. But then the woman she was working for had all the money.
Yeah.
And was super unhappy. She was well off, but she was still unhappy, was not in a good relationship. And it just shows that although we can strive for financial freedom, it doesn't always mean that that's going to make us happy.
Right.
So when we talk about self-love, self-care, and what makes us happy, it's not always about the money, but you do have to get to know yourself. Right?
It's not definitely.
So we talk about that too, talk about self-care and stuff. But in this situation, it really was that one piece of who she worked for. Money did not make her happy. But she paid it forward too. So then let's talk about paid it forward. So when you are in a certain situation and status and have specific skills, it is our responsibility
to pull someone else up. And one thing that I love also with not Maddie but Alex, they leveled the playing field doubling back to the roles, like both of them were in unhealthy relationships, right?
Yep.
And so one is just able, because she has money, to really help the other sister out.
Right.
And then in turn, Alex helped her out with going back to school, going after the things she wanted to do. And they really just fed off of each other's energy.
And what does that say about us who, when we are walking in different paths?
Oh,
like from different communities, from different
It doesn't matter.
backgrounds.
It
Like,
doesn't matter.
We all, there's something that we can give each other.
That's right. Yeah.
There's something that we just have, we have to make an effort to want to do that, because even in that relationship on screen, she was not trying to give her a chance. There she definitely judged her based on, you're cleaning my house. And
let's just be honest, all of us can be that way. All of us can be judgmental. But when you allow the autonomy of a circumstance to really unfold, then that's where you can, really get what's really necessary.
I hate judgmental people. And they say one of the things that if you really, really dislike it, then that must be what you used to be. And I think, and I was reflecting on that, and I was like, because I really hate when people judge, right?
Yeah.
And so what that
means,
go
ahead and tell your tea.
I'm telling you, girl. All what that meant was that I was probably a big
ding, 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 ding.
It just meant that I was that I was somebody who really, really judged others, and which is why it used to be a true issue for me to move forward in different things and be transparent, even with creating a podcast. Like, no, I can't do this because of what it's going to expose me and open the door for people to judge me the way I would have judged other people. And it's a work in progress. That's all I can say is I'm a work in progress. But I'm definitely much better than I was in the last 3 years of making sure. But it was just not too long ago where I made the connection as to why that bothers me when I see people do that, even in my presence or on social media.
Congratulations.
Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl. I mean, this is about us elevating.
That's growth. And you want to grow. If we're not growing, something is wrong.
Something is wrong.
So let's think about, we don't want to always think about what's wrong, but there are some things that are just wrong right now, wrong.
Yeah. So if you haven't,
guys, go see
Netflix, Maid.
Go see Maid. It's amazing.
Netflix, if you hear us, we expect a check in the mail. We just saying we take all forms of donations and sponsorship. So Netflix, ExPOSEDpodcast.com. You can find us there. But anywho, you just never know. You put things on the atmosphere, you just never know. But then we have to kind of talk about some of the things that's been happening in the city.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. To be exact. The home of where the ring ceremony is actually happening tonight. Or it'll be last week. But, the MVPs, Milwaukee Bucks championship, just had to throw that out there because we are winners.
We are.
But we also have to deal with some of the real life concerns that we are dealing with in our own city around violence and prevention. And unfortunately, we cannot prevent all violence, but we can talk about it and shed some light to it, right?
So this story was, we come across a lot of stories. People send us stuff and, we have to make sure that we're protecting what we take in, because we talk about this stuff all the time. But it hits different when it's children involved, right?
Oh, yes.
And so there was an Amber Alert went out for 3-year-old Major.
It's been about 3 days now. Has it been 3 days? Something like that.
And so things just started to unfold. His mom was found dead, and I just hate to even talk about the story, but I know that we have to say something. And then the suspect, who was not Major's father, because Major was missing, mom was found dead, 3-year-old was gone. The suspect was the boyfriend, and Then they found the boyfriend with self-inflicted wounds, where it appears that he killed himself, but still no major.
Mm-hmm.
And so, first thing is, what was going on in that relationship? Like, you just never know. I don't know how this is going to unfold. We haven't talked to, and we know what you know, which is basically what we read and have seen online, on the news. Yeah. But so I don't want to necessarily speculate anything, but it's just really unfortunate that whatever went on, mm-hmm. that there was not a better resolution.
Right.
That there just wasn't a better resolution. And I just don't, I'm a loss for words, because you don't want to say something that you want to be sensitive to the situation
and the family
and the families, yeah. And how hard, this is why we go so hard with awareness and prevention
and that
with
education
this, because
piece, yeah.
this is not an issue that's just going to go away. It's not just going to go away. So whatever even was going on with the boyfriend, like what was going on with him, mm-hmm. to get him to the point that life was over for him. Some people may look at that and say he deserves what he get. I'm not God, so I don't know.
I don't get to say that.
I don't get to say that. Of course, if it were my child, or I would, maybe I'd have a different point of view. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying either way. What I'm saying is, what was his state? So when we talk about ExPOSED doing trainings and education, that education is not just surrounding the victims.
No,
that education has to also include
the perpetrators.
Yes, to get an understanding as to what's triggering them to do that. What gets you to a point where they can't break up, where they can't separate? Like, I was talking to somebody, and it was like, no one knows how to break up anymore. You used to just could break up, and you just would everybody goes their own separate ways. You might get a cursed out here or there, but it wasn't, I don't know, they're not dealing with the emotions that you need to have to deal with relationships.
When I say I am lost for words, because it's like, if I want to break, or if I don't want to be in a relationship, someone is making that decision for me. And someone is saying, I'm not done with the relationship.
Right.
So therefore, this will continue whether you want it to or not.
Right.
And so I just don't remember a time like that. Even in my situation, when I walked away. And these young people, or just people in general, it's so toxic where they cannot walk away, and it's unsafe for them to walk away.
Right.
However, we still tell them to plan safely.
You got to plan
and get away.
Yeah, you have to.
Sometimes getting away might mean getting out of state. That's something we advocate for all the time. You might need to change your environment. Yeah. And that's super important. So anyone that may feel like, I'm in this relationship and it's super toxic, and I know this person is they're literally not going to let me go.
Yep.
You might want to consider finding family outside of Wisconsin, or just going somewhere where there's, different resources outside. Recently just talked to a friend of mine. We used to run together, and I think I shared her story with you. She experienced the same thing as far as just abuse, and she married this person, and then she realized that it was not a good situation, but she moved to a whole nother state.
Right.
And that's where they took her in, and it's been one of the best experiences that her and her son has ever experienced. So I'm just so happy to hear that she is safe and good.
Right.
And like, you'll figure the rest out, like, we just got to get to safety.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. So it's gonna look different for everybody,
Right.
but because it's definitely scary, scary to leave a home that you've always possibly known, like you've
And
never
you might
been,
have children,
and you got
so that's a whole nother
kids, like that's
layer.
a different
Yes.
layer.
Yes.
So we say this, but not say it in the sense that we don't understand how hard it can be. But we do want people, when we talk to victims, we do suggest that they get out of their environment, because I just think it clears your head in a different way than if you're still in the same city and possibly can run into family members or that person, that you're running from, their family members, mutual friends, just
right.
watching you and your whereabouts. So
we're sending prayers to that family.
Yes, we
but
are.
With the solution or with the problems, I always want to encourage all of us to know that we are actually the solution to our problems.
Yep.
I have to think of myself when I'm going through or I'm experiencing a problem. I have to tell myself, you know what, you actually have the answers. And I'm not saying that I'm God, but God has put certain things inside of you,
yep.
and you really can troubleshoot and get through this. And with the help of a village and with the help of people that have the expertise and the support and everything that you need, if you are serious, the way that we are able to call upon people and they just show up without questioning us, I mean, that is available to you too.
And so shout out to speaking about the individuals that using our tribe and people in the community, and we had a situation where we had to call on the guys, the men, and say,
we need y'all to talk to this knucklehead.
Natalie sent a text message. She sent a group text, and she was like, who available? Meet me here. Somebody is need talking to and protecting at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was no hesitation. It was like, where and when do we need to meet you?
And we're here.
And they were there. They showed up.
Yeah.
They showed up. Shout out to Vaughn and
Homer Blow.
And oh God, what was his name?
Adante. Yes. Thank you guys so much for showing up on the spot.
Yeah.
Speaking of Von Mays, he's been actually out. They got the whole city out looking for this young man, and so we really are. Yeah. We
that young man.
No, the young man, the little baby. So he's
the 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay. Because his dad is in town. His biological father has come in town.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, we just shout out everyone that's doing that work. It's not easy. It's definitely draining. We advise you take time for yourself, rest when you need to, because the work is always going to be there.
Yes,
so hold on, you brought up another situation about the reckless driving. How about let's pause and take a deep sigh on the reckless driving.
I'm annoyed with that. Let me talk about how annoyed I am with that. First of all, it's always somebody who's driving reckless with no insurance, no tags, no regard to
for life.
Now, let me say this, because someone will shoot and say, "Well, we act like we were never young, right?" Now, I feel like I had a heavy foot when I was younger, for sure.
Not like
that. I feel like I did have a heavy foot. However, I wasn't reckless in the way of the dipping and tail, the
running lights, cutting in front of people, turning in front of buses, jumping curves, showing up in people's houses with your car. Like, how about that one?
I'm here for dinner.
I mean,
no, really, no, that's not what we doing. And now when stuff starts to hit the fan and people are starting to get hurt, and so one of my Facebook friends had posted this morning that there was someone, I guess it was a police chase, but they were saying the police had stopped chasing the individual. And again, I don't know that whole story.
Shout out to MPD for doing the best that they can. That's all I can say.
Yes. And that they had stopped. They started, but they had stopped that pursuit. But that individual ended up killing someone, and that mom or parents are suing MPD. And so there was this whole
nerve. I was so agitated by that comment or just the
you
thought
and several other people on Facebook
of a
were
mother. First of all, I'm gonna need you, mothers, if you have a child that is between the ages of 13, because that's how young they are, if not younger, some might be 12, but between the ages of 13 and 20 something, you might want to talk to them prior to MPD getting a hold of them, because by the time MPD gets a hold of them, it's a lost cause.
So this is where we're gonna where we show up different, because you have a young child still, and I have grown kids, and so what was I understood what they were saying on Facebook by saying trying to make mom accountable for your teenager.
Who do we hold accountable then?
Well, there's a lot of things. Is she a single mom? Is she at work? Is he somewhere he wasn't even supposed to be? Like, I left you at home.
I don't know who else to hold accountable, to be
I left
honest.
you at I hear what you're saying, but if I left you at home and I'm at work and I'm doing what I can do to support the family, but I can't watch my teenager 24/7, and he goes out and does something stupid like this, then how am I'm as a single mom, I'm doing the best I can, right?
I get it.
So I feel that's a thin line to come for mom and not necessarily knowing her situation, because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of teenagers out here that's being real reckless.
Has mom asked for support though? You know, like, so I get the teen mom, but you gotta speak up and advocate for yourself. Enough of like, oh, I'm a single mom and I don't have any help. Well, damn it, say something.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, like, everyone needs to be involved with young people, even if they're not yours.
Right.
Talk to them, get the school involved. Hey, I'm a single mom. I need support. I don't know what to do. When I was in the shelter with Riley, I relied on the school to help me out. I called the principal and I said, hey, my kid might have some behavioral issues because this is going on. There's a lot of change happening. You got to speak up. So if you didn't speak up.
So that intervening at that age makes a difference when a child didn't get that. So now you have a whole 14, 15, 16-year-old who didn't get that in the early stages.
But it's never too late. It's never too late though.
Sometimes, right. I'm never gonna say it's never too late, but it's very hard. And then we let's talk about, what they're dealing with. So you work with young people all the time, and so, but you're working with young people, troubled young people, right?
Disadvantage is the term.
And so
yes,
they come to school with a lot of shit.
They come to school with more stuff than what we had to do.
Right. It ain't about just getting up and eating breakfast and going off to school. It ain't no breakfast.
That's right. And then they got to get their brother and sisters and their siblings off to school.
Right. So when I'm out here, what is considered to be having a little bit of fun based on all the other things, my parents, somebody in jail, somebody may be on drugs, I'm the one that's taking responsibility of a bunch of little kids. It's just a lot of variables, layers that can go. So I saw that on Facebook, and I understood the anger, because I understand the anger that the comments of some of the Facebook folks were saying about, I dare you, mom, try to sue MPD, when what was going on,
they're a danger to society. What was going
on, like, they're doing their best, and I just refrain from doing that. But again, if the shoe was on the other foot, would I be saying the same thing? Would I be just as pissed? Would I want somebody to be accountable for
where all parents loss and family members need to be talking to young people?
It's a group effort.
It's a group effort.
And then I think there's some things that's happening where stiffer laws and punishment, because right now the punishment is seemingly a slap on the wrist. There's no deterrent to keep them from driving reckless. And I would hate for there to be a continued increase of punishment, because who we're talking about are Black and brown kids.
Mm-hmm.
And do we want those stiffer punishments that is going to be another strike against them?
So,
you know,
my thinking is a little different when we go straight to punishment. I mean, to avoid that and to possibly combat that, I mean, we have to look out for our Black and brown boys in the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, everyone that has an opinion, that maybe they should be taking that opinion or sitting down and having a conversation with a Black and brown boy. We don't talk to them. I think they need a talking to, and some may get it and some may not. When I'm doing the work that I do, I understand that, sometimes whatever spaghetti I throw on the wall, some may stick and some may not, meaning not everyone is going to make it. Sometimes some people have to be made examples of. Hopefully these young people get that, you are not immortal.
That part right there. So that's what I think the driver going home is like. If you really thought that you would run into this brick wall, would you really do it? Would you do it? And or that you could possibly kill somebody with how you're moving?
Or do they care? I think they don't care.
Bottom line, I think all of them, I think for the most part, they think they have control over the vehicle. They take it for granted how powerful a car is and how damaging
you know what, we need to go back to the juvie and have a conversation with them about the Stolies. Remember, they were telling us about, because we had an opportunity to go and do a podcast with the juvenile center, and they actually go to a Wauwatosa school district.
Mm-hmm.
And so the principal, his name was Dean Haas. I'll never forget him. He invited us in, and even the girls, they were talking, they put us on some language and terminology about if they, once they steal a car, it's easier for them to, like, it's like a cycle. They just keep doing it. It's something that they get very
right.
used
And the whole
to.
Kia boys thing, like, how did that become a thing? Like that is a thing now, that if you own a Kia, you might as well just keep your doors unlocked and don't put nothing in it and hope and pray that your car is going to be outside when you wake up in the morning.
Or you can just get
that's a hot mess.
Or you can just get a manual vehicle, and they don't take manual vehicles.
Everybody ain't sitting. Because that's true. Ain't nobody. They're gonna look and say, "Ain't nobody."
I'm not doing that.
No, nobody is trying.
Get you a manual car.
They don't teach cursive in school anymore. You think somebody know how to drive a stick shift? I could not believe they are not teaching cursive in school. Like, kids do not know how to write their signature.
That is the one reason why I've always owned a manual car, is because it is an anti-theft vehicle, so I can leave my doors open in the
for anybody.
For anybody.
Your friends ain't asking to borrow it, because I'm not asking. And she rolling around in a Jeep Wrangler.
She just put my business out there.
She all. Y'all, the Wrangler.
Yeah, that's my buddy. Yes.
So she out here cruising in her new Jeep Wrangler, but
it's manual though.
I can't even say I want to take a spin in it, because your transmission would be behind me, because I don't know what I'm doing. But you're right. You're right. It's stealing of the cars. I don't know the answer to that. So that is not necessarily.
That brings on a whole nother onset of anxieties, because I was sharing with you.
We avoid the city streets.
Yeah, we don't. I go out of my way to get on the freeway, and I'm praying the whole way there.
Right.
Father God, Son, Holy Ghost. Yep. Okay. So yeah.
Right, and you
But it's
you're
real.
on double alert, like defense driving mode. Like I need to see 3-4 cars ahead of me. What's going on to the right or the left of me?
Don't take off right away when the light turns green,
Right,
but be
'cause you don't
careful
know
because
what-
somebody might hit you from behind because they're ready to go. You just don't know what to do.
It's a hot mess.
So
come on, y'all. We gotta
let's
do
do
better.
better.
We gotta do better.
We're gonna do better. Let's say it together. We're gonna do better.
We're gonna do
Okay,
better.
we're gonna do better.
So we're gonna end on a good note though, because Milwaukee ain't really crazy. We got some good stuff going.
Shout out to Office of Violence Prevention.
By
The
the
Love
time-
Without Violence conference.
Yeah,
is
by the time
coming
they
up.
see that though, it would have already happened. So we hope that you guys were able to participate in that. And everybody's always looking, your favorite duo will be on there. So
yeah,
when you guys see that, make sure you send us a note or something how you thought we did, and
what we can do, which one
what we
we
can
can
do.
talk about, all of
Yep.
that good stuff.
Yep.
Expose the podcast will definitely be supporting Office of Violence Prevention 2021. Love
And they're
Without
supporting
Violence,
us.
and they're supporting us
Mhm.
as always.
As always.
But
So we got some good stuff coming though, right? Like topics.
yes, I literally put together. I get excited about
She
putting
do.
together
She be-
agendas
I'll be like,
and
where-
calendars.
I was
and
like,
stuff
where
like
the-
that.
I said, where the topics go? It's in the Google Drive. You have to go to the Google Drive to get it. And I'm like,
And I get excited
the
because
Google
we
is
get
in- I'm like,
edited
it's
at
in
the
the
same
Google
time. Google is amazing.
Drive.
We should invest in shares. Let's talk about that later. That's
Yes.
on a, something later.
www.exposedpodcast.com.
.com. Yes. Yes.
So it's in the Google Drive. And so we do our homework, and Natalie has these. Anybody knows her. I'm surprised she doesn't have it here tonight, but everybody who knows her knows she's a planner. What is that called? The
Passion planner.
She's a passion planner. And so she always has these planners, and everything is color coded, highlighted. And so I'm like, what the notes? What did you take? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to be?
I am Laverne's
And
assistant.
She be
I
like,
tell her
go
what's
look
on her
for it.
camera.
She do it. It would be easy for me to just say, Natalie, what am I supposed to be doing? Because she rejected. Now, when I tried to go out on my own, here we have an
I already had.
So when I tried to go
plan.
out on my own to plan in the calendar where we're supposed to be, right? We're supposed to be speaking on a couple Sundays from now at Unity Church, right, on DV. And so I'm like, okay, I'm putting in my calendar, and Nellie, and then I sent the invite to Natalie, and she declined it. I said
It was
"Did she
already
just
in the calendar.
I'm like, did she just decline? I went through this whole effort of creating the invite, creating the invite, and remembering how to invite her and put it on her calendar too, because she's usually always populating stuff in my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finally do it, and I said, ain't this something?
She asked me this morning, and
I
I
said-
said
I
I declined it because it's already in your calendar.
And I looked at my calendar, and I
it
was like,
was.
oh shit. It was already there. I was like, it was already there. What would I do without her though? But I'm trying to do better so that it's not all on her, but
It's not.
that is definitely her strengths. But I'm at home ironing t-shirts for days.
If y'all can see her
and
shirt,
that is definitely
she
not her
does-
strength.
No, she does a great job.
I know. I'm like, we don't have any money. We got to figure this out on our own.
Yet,
We have
yet checks are coming in the mail.
Yes,
Thank
it
you,
is.
guys.
Yes, it
Amen.
is.
Yes.
And then we're just gonna say, design this, please.
Yeah.
And they're gonna design it.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be in my bedroom with my little cricket.
But
my
humble
little cricket.
beginnings.
Yes.
So we thank you. For that.
You have to know. So they say when people kind of lose in business a little bit, I've heard that it's because you don't know your business.
Oh.
You need to know your business. We know our business.
We
so
do.
if we hand off something other than a calendar invite, we hand off something.
That's a little shade.
I know. No, for me, because I don't know.
Oh yeah.
The shade to myself. So if we don't know all aspects of our business and we hand off something for somebody else to help us with, how is that? Like, that's how people get over. Like, I need to be able to explain to you how to help me.
A lot of it is trial and error.
Two, if that person fell off the face of this earth, we need to still be able to bounce
To
back
sustain,
and keep things moving. And two, we don't play. Now, what we don't do is play about money. We both be on page, and we with accountants and stuff, and making sure
Thank God for
that
accountants.
checks and balances and
yeah.
things of that nature. But I think because of how we didn't know what to do, it forced us to know,
to learn it.
It was
a huge learning curve
from the ground up. And so did we say we were 4 years in? Did we say that?
We celebrate 5 years next year, guys. 5 years. Expect a big event.
Natalie.
Ooh, I got something.
I'm telling you, Natalie
plan.
is low key, but not this 5 year. Natalie, go get your good clothes out. Go, girl, go and get your good clothes out. Go get that Spanx together, because Natalie has said that this is black tie.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a black tie.
She said we ain't buying nothing off the rack. That's what Natalie said.
That's what Natalie.
She said something is being designed.
Laverne said that.
I'm like. So anyway,
any designers that want to dress us for our 5 year, let us know. And
which is in June. So we're planning something for June to celebrate, because we don't celebrate. We never stopped to the milestones, the 1 year, the 2 year, 3. We never did that. We would just kind of do something low key between the two of us,
and then just keep it going,
and then keep moving. But 5 years, Natalie was.
But it's not just about us. We really want the people that have supported us, and even there are these. And I'm not saying this just because this is happening, but there are these repeat media outlets that always reach out, and they want to continue to follow us and see the growth. And we want them there, not to capture anything, but to just be there and experience, and for us to say thank you. So we're going to be reaching out to all of our community partners and the ones out of Wisconsin to come and celebrate with us this time and the work that we're doing. And it's just going to be a great time. And we have some really great things in mind.
Good stuff in store.
Yeah,
we got some good stuff in store. So
I'm
tired, girl.
I got me an air fryer, but we'll talk about that next time.
Did you really?
I did.
I did. Yeah, I ain't bit more healthy than the man on the moon, and I got an air fryer. And Natalie is always cooking healthy and trying to feed us grass and
so bogus
and wheat and chips that got beans and stuff and corn in it. And so, but she didn't have an air fryer. And I'm like, how do you not have an air fryer?
It was Tabitha Brown for me this time. She put something in there, and I said, I'm getting the air fryer this time for this season.
And I actually enjoy the air fryer.
Yay, we can finally be air fryer buddies. But anyhow, guys,
maybe not unless you throw some chicken in there, a piece of rib, and she just don't. But I do love chicken in there. The chicken tastes really good, and fries.
Yes,
it does a really good job at fries.
Yes, I'm excited about it. Yeah. So, but yes, on a great note,
just keep loving on yourselves. Keep making sure that we look out for one another, right?
Yeah. And take care of yourselves.
Continue to pray for our babies and pray for all that's going on in our cities. Pray for the safe return of that baby. And just we're just gonna continue to pray. That's all. But I'm Laverne Badger.
I'm Natalie Hayden.
And we're Exposed,
the podcast.
And until
next time.
We'll
holla back,
guys.
Peace out. Bye.